And that first mechanic is the punch turn. Now, the punch turn, some people call it a jab step. Some people call it, I don't even know what people call it. We just call it a punch turn. And so what that looks like is when you spray snow on your outside edge, and you can see Barzal spray snow there. And then what that does is that initiates your turn. You spray snow on the outside edge, it initiates your turn, and then it allows you to explode out the other way. So we see Barzal do this punch turn thing all the time. The other thing that he does is he's excellent at cross unders. So I have declared the crossover as dead. The crossover is something that has fallen prey to the look-feel paradox, where coaches who coach the look of the crossover coach the wrong thing, but the coaches who coach the feel of the crossover that NHLers do, they coach this thing called the cross under, which is what we're seeing here, where we have a lot more pressure and weight on the inside foot outside edge. That's the second mechanic that Barzal is ruthlessly effective at. And the third is what we see right here. We call it the wide corkscrew. So let me show you a few other examples. So here's Barzal cruising around the zone, and what do we see? We see these cross under things, right? Look at how much weight is on that inside foot, outside edge, cross under. Then what is next? What's coming up? Guess what? The punch turn. Boom. And there's a couple key things with the punch turn that make it so successful. The first and most important thing is the shin angle. Some people call it the ankle rocker. And that is, and we'll show you another angle of it right here. So we can see right here, this is a better view of the angle, where the shin angle or the ankle rocker is the knee being over the toe. And this allows you to actually generate force right away. A lot of players don't have their knee over their toe. They understand the cue to be knees bent, not knees forward. And this really slows a lot of players down. And then the next thing that we always see is the wide corkscrew, right? So after the cross under, and then we have the wide corkscrew. Now what's interesting about this wide corkscrew is we see it all over the place, like back in this example here, where we got the cross unders going, punch turn. Then what do we see here? Wide corkscrew. Okay, so wide corkscrew is just a stance where you're nice and wide and you're cutting with your heels, and then you're using what you call the inner spring, where the upper body, it counter twists with your lower body. And what ends up happening is you can generate forward movement, but your wide base allows you to also protect the puck. And the wide base, given that you have your, obviously being in a wide base, you end up having like quite an aggressive angle. We call this the Y angle. And when you have that Y angle so wide, you can actually see, since your skates are profiled, it like draws two arcs on the ice. So all you have to do is like unweight one foot, and then you can just choose one of the arcs. Or I can unweight the left foot and I can just choose this arc. Now, if you're more narrow, there's less of an arc being drawn on the ice from your profile of your blade, so you end up just going forward. Now, the wide corkscrew we're going to just take a little digression here, is the wide corkscrew comes down to something called the Y angle. Okay, and when we have the Y angle, which, like I said, is that angle between the foot and the ice, what you get is a positive feedback loop. Now, positive feedback loops are devastating, either negative or positive, because if you get caught in one of these on the way down, it's a vicious cycle. But if you get caught in one of these on the way up, it's a huge bonus. And so what we have here with the Y angle is that if you have an aggressive Y angle like Barzal does, you get more grip. And if you have more grip, you have more center of mass displacement. And if you have more center of mass displacement, you get more speed. And if you have more speed, you can use the Y angle. And that's because the more speed we have, the more we're on an arc, the more we can get that centrifugal force, which allows you to displace your center of mass. So